Revelation 18, he said, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. I'm talking about here how it's really sad how in the music industry we can see how Little Richard was talking about how they encouraged homosexuality. Talked about how they wouldn't let him sing. They wouldn't let him make any money unless he dressed effeminate, unless he put on makeup and eyelashes and all of that crazy stuff. This here is the home of every unclean bird, every foul bird. It has become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. And the nations have become drunk with the wine of her fornications. The nations have become drunk, no, with the actions of her wrongdoings. And the kings of the earth has been doing these wrongdoings with her as well. And the merchants of the earth wax rich. I'm saying that basically what we're seeing here is that the world waxed rich off of the sins of the Israelites, you see? And this is why they keep the Israelites sinning. This is why they keep the Israelites on drugs and on homosexuality and all of these things, because they want to distract them from their connection with God and their purpose on this planet, and to connect them with their agenda and their purpose, which is a satanic purpose on this planet.
Sung rock and roll. I was on RCA Victor before Elvis Presley. At that time, they would call black music race music when I sung rock and roll. I was on RCA Victor before Elvis Presley, but they wouldn't put me on RCA. They put me on Camden. When I would wear makeup, they would let me sing for the white girls. When I put on eyelashes and all that, they would let me sing. But when I went as a just straight dude, they wouldn't let me sing.
Now, why is that?
Well, they thought I wanted the girls. So,
Now, who is they that you're talking about here?
some of the whites in Macon, where I'm from, I came from a little town.
Yeah.
It was real prejudice back in that time. There was a lot of people that would have loved to have been flamboyant, just like Kiss and Jimi Hendrix, which was my guitar player. He started out with me. Billy Preston, James Brown was my vocalist. Otis Redding, all the Beatles came with me. They started with me. Mick Jagger, all these people started with me.
So you really did have a dramatic impact and a great deal of influence on what would later become the mainstays of rock and roll music.
I was the architect of rock. At that time, they would call black music race music when I sung rock and roll. I was on RCA Victor before.